All right, hey there, my friends. Today we're going to be looking at standard form. Standard form of an equation. Well, first of all, there are lots of different formats, as you can tell. So there are many forms of equations. We've already seen slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. And then we've also seen point slope. All of these are different types, and now there is a third type, ax plus by equals c. So here is what it all means. X and Y are still just X and Y as far as like the axes are concerned, or the input, output, domain and range and all of that. While A, B, and C are integers. Let's review what integers are. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers. So for example, -3, -2, -1. 0 isn't necessarily an integer, but I guess in this case it can be. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So it goes on in both directions. So we're talking again about positive and negative whole numbers. So keep that in mind as you are, writing these equations in standard form. So we shouldn't see fractions or decimals. So for example, here we have an equation. It's not quite in standard form because we can rearrange it to make it look a little bit better. So I'm going to rewrite this equation, possibly. I think my pen. Okay, so like I was saying, it's not exactly written in standard form because remember, it needs to be ax plus by equals c. So I'm just going to rearrange everything. So I'm going to move the 9x to the front. It's positive, so it stays that way. The -8y will go next, and then equals 7. So I can see now that the a value is 9, b is -8, and c is 7. Now this one's a little bit different. Because I have a fraction, we cannot use this. So if you recall back at the beginning, we have to eliminate the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by the least common denominator. And in this case, I believe it is 30. So I'm going to do 30 over 1. I'm going to shift down to the bottom. So I have 30x over 5 equals 30y over 6. Whoops. So when I simplify that, I end up with 6x equals 5y. I can rewrite this so that I have both variables on the same side. So 6x minus 5y equals 0. So here a is 6, b is -5, and c is 0. So here we have a real world situation. It says you work 2 jobs. At the first job, you earn $10 per hour. At the second job, you earn $12 per hour. You earned $440 last week. So we're going to say X is job 1, Y is job 2. So job 1 is $10 an hour, while job 2 is $12 an hour. So we can set this up as 10x plus 12y equals $440. Keep in mind, x and y can have different values. So let's look at this. Let's say you don't work at all at your first job. So you only work at your second job. How many hours would you have to work in order to do that? So let's say x is here, y is here. So you're not working at your first job at all. So then you would do 440 divided by 12. I don't know if this one's going to work that way. No, it's not. So you can't only work at that job and make $440. So let's try this. Let's graph this and then use our graph to find. So if I do 10 times 20 plus 12 times 20, does it get me 440? Let's see. So 10 times 20 is 200. 12 times 20 is 240, which gives me the 440. So that means I can work 20 hours at both jobs and make $440. Let's go back to our graph. Well, I guess since Desmos is not being my friend right now, this is just to give you an example that you can use different values to get the amount of hours that you would work. Ordered pairs. So, let's see here. Got to get it to load. So we have 10x, if I can get the numbers to work, 10x plus 12y equals 440. Now, of course, we're going to have to zoom way out to see what we got here. So when I look at this graph, I can grab a couple of points here. So I can see here maybe 20 hours at each job would get me what I need. Let's go back and check. Let's see if I can find another point. It's not going to come out real pretty here, it looks like. Let's see if I get back to my whoopsies. Well, that didn't work out. Let's look at another one. It says your school is sponsoring a pancake dinner to raise money for a field trip. You estimate that 200 adults and 250 children will attend. Write an equation that can be used to find out what ticket prices should be in order to raise $2,000. So again, we need to designate. So X will be adults, Y will be children, so it looks like there's 200 and 250, so we need to figure out how much we can charge. So this would be 200x plus 250y to equal $2,000. And of course, we could graph it and find some values, but as far as the equation is concerned, this equation will work. We'll look at how to use that equation a little bit later. The next screen is Desmos. I'm going to skip that for now, just because it's been acting up. All right, here's another one. You are running a concession stand at a baseball game. You sell hot dogs for $1, sodas for 50 cents. At the end of the night, you made $200. Write an equation that can be used to find out how many hot dogs and how many sodas were sold. So let's see here. X will be hot dogs, which are $1 a piece. Y will be sodas, which will be 50 cents each. And of course, your total is 200. So when we go to write this equation, it would be, typically we would do 1x, but couldn't we just do x plus 50 cents y equals 200? Now I'm actually going to graph this one because I want to talk about something with this. So let's see, x plus 50 cents y equals 200. Now again, I'm going to have to zoom out till I get to that 200. So I want to talk about what we see here. So here is a point. This point is 0, 400. Well, this one is 200, 0. These are what we call the x and y intercepts. If y represents the number of sodas and we have 0, 400, this would mean we sold 0 hot dogs but sold 400 sodas. So that's like, okay, we ran out of hot dogs, or we're not selling any hot dogs, but we sold 400 sodas. Here, this is like we only sold hot dogs, while this is sodas. Now, of course, there are different variations in between. Like right here, this point would be 100, 200. So that means we sold 100 hot dogs and 200 sodas, which would be a little more realistic, right? And of course, we can, grab points throughout. But just to kind of give you an idea of what we are dealing with here, this is real life situation on using standard form of an equation.